Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our new edition of Big Brother 25 live feed spoilers. This is the day after the week 9 veto ceremony. We
Mhm.
have seen a little bit of the aftermath. In our video yesterday, we talked a lot about how Cameron is not someone who can be trusted when it comes to what he says he's going to do in the house. So I had all of these sort of doubts as to, is he really going to use the veto? Is he going to go after Corey? Is he going to leave Felicia and Nicole on the block? Like, I really didn't know. And there's not a lot of players on Big Brother in general that, I can really say that about.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, he really just doesn't let people know what's going on. Sometimes he'll throw things out where it's not exactly true. There's a mystery around Cameron when it comes to a lot of stuff. So, when it came to the veto, it was hard to know what he was going to end up doing, like truly what he was going to end up doing. But here we are, Cameron decided not to use the veto
Mhm.
and he left Felicia and Nicole on the block, which was a bit of a surprise to me. I truly thought that he probably was going to end up going after Corey. I mean, he really felt like that was something that he was circling. But I mean, with everything else that was kind of going on around him,
Yeah.
maybe he just decided to take it easy this week because he's the biggest target in the house now.
I think it's really all of this to me is going to kind of come back to whether or not this move buys him any loyalty at all with other people in the house. Like we will get a lot more into that, but before we do, be sure to hit that subscribe button for more coverage of Big Brother 25 throughout this season. We have a lot more coming, and by subscribing, you help support us to make all of that possible. Also, tomorrow night, the latest episode of Survivor 45
Mhm.
is going to be on the air. We are already looking forward to diving in and talking all about that. What will your guy Bruce do next?
Oh, Bruce, with what a clown car that premiere
Yeah.
was, I mean, Bruce was really shining for me. I'm very excited about this season of Survivor. So, yeah, hit that subscribe button and stick with us.
Okay. So there's some interesting stuff that happened, like even right before the veto ceremony yesterday, because
Mhm.
Cameron went to Corey and basically said that Blue was trying really hard to get him nominated. And like, she was to some extent, but she was far from the one who was kind of steering that ship. It was just a very sort of convenient way to be like, okay, let's just shift all the blame over to you, Blue, because, I'm working with Matt and Jag. We've got like these fugitives that we're all doing something. I don't want them to be the people who are looked at as the bad people in this sort of situation.
Yeah.
And then as a result of all of this, Corey actually was a little bit more sussed out that Matt and Jag like didn't say anything about, oh, Blue may be saying this, oh, you might be going on the block. Like he was a little bit paranoid on the other side of this. And I think the
Mhm.
the funny thing about Cameron is I don't think he really sort of thinks a lot of this stuff through. I think he's just sort of like, I'm going to go and say this. This may cover my butt for like A, B, or C reason. I don't know if it's actually going to do anything beyond that.
You know what was interesting was my girl Felicia, who I absolutely love for just saying what's on her mind a lot of the times. She called out Corey in her veto speech, which, I mean, may or may not air, but probably will.
Yeah, it's that's the thing about these speeches, right? Is just that it's a situation where they often film them, but very rarely do they always put all of it on the air. And the same goes for an argument that happened like right after apparently this veto speech that was off feeds with America and Felicia, where Felicia basically went after her and was just like, oh, you're just using Corey, you're riding him along, you're just doing, he is just benefiting your game. And, this the same old, same old. We've seen tons of people on Big Brother over time accused of this. Like, none
Of
of that is
course.
jaw dropping.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something, a tale as true as time. It has happened on the show many times.
It, it has. I'm just mostly bummed out about the idea that there's been a lot of meaty drama this season, but
Mhm.
it hasn't always been stuff that we have seen on feeds. We're like getting like a short version of it that ends up on the air show, and
Mhm.
maybe that'll be the case here. I mean, on paper, Felicia deciding to do this in the middle of a veto speech in the veto ceremony when Corey and America, they could in theory be votes to save her versus Nicole. It doesn't vote altogether well for her strategically.
Yeah, it really doesn't. I'm not saying that Felicia's made the best decisions strategically in this game, but she is just very genuine to me, and I tend to gravitate towards people who just feel like they're being themselves and that they're being very genuine. And whether or not that turns into gameplay or
Yeah.
not, I mean, you love Jag, and I love
Yeah.
Jag. He's great. He's not a great game player, but he feels very genuine, and I think
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons why he's just so likable.
Well, let's talk a moment here about the aftermath of what Cameron did and sort of trying to pin a lot of this on Blue, because this is where we get into unintended consequences. Like, I don't believe, this is my own tinfoil hat theory, I don't think that when Cameron went to Corey and said all this, that he necessarily thought it was going to lead into Blue sort of becoming like a public enemy for a lot of other people. But
Mhm.
in the aftermath of all of this, Matt and Jack spent a lot of time yesterday trying to villainize Blue. And ultimately, they explained not to saying anything to Corey by basically being like, we didn't want to disrupt anything in the house, saying anything too early in advance. You never know what's going to happen if you throw somebody under the bus. Like, I don't know if Corey necessarily bought all of it, but we have sort of been woven into this situation now where there's a lot of attention that is on Blue, and I think she is an easy person for a lot of people to take out. Blue, the biggest threat in all of Big Brother.
Yeah, I'm laughing because it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand you want to have the attention on somebody else, but
Yeah.
like, if I was in this game, I'd love to sit at the end with Blue because Blue is not winning this game. Like, she is somebody that I'd be like, you want to ride or die to the end?
Yeah.
I'll take that deal with you, Blue, because like, I'm going to beat you.
Okay, like this is where we get back to this idea of, is this move a good move for Cameron? Because if you're thinking Cameron just needs to win his way to the end, there's no other path for him to get there, he's going to be put up next week, like regardless, then I think you can sit here and be like, okay, this is a bad move because Corey at least can win a mental comp. He
Yeah.
did it during the double eviction.
Mhm.
There is a little bit of danger there, but this is the big but that may shock a lot of people. There have been discussions with some of these guys in the house about whether or not they would actually target Cameron in the event that they get power this next week. I mean, maybe they're just saying this now, and when they're actually in power, they would be like, oh yeah, we need to get rid of Cameron at this point. But if Cameron actually bought a little bit of loyalty here and sticking to this plan, it could actually end up being good for him, and then these other people all deserve egg on their faces for not just wanting to get rid of him.
There is no circumstance if I got into power that I would keep Cameron in the house. Cameron's winning this game easily. If he continues to just win his way to the end, if they end up keeping him in the house, like, unless you have like a really, really bitter jury, like,
Yeah.
he's winning the game. So he's got to go. Like, and also, I don't want him deciding for me
Yeah.
at the end, if it's like, down to the final three or whatever, if he wins everything, that he gets to decide whether he's taking me or not. Like, I want to decide. And if I can't beat Cameron
Yeah.
in competitions because he's beating everybody, then if you've got a chance, it's now. It's now.
It's a really good point, because the other thing is that second prize money in Big Brother, like, yeah, it's nowhere near the money you get for winning, but it's a
No.
generous chunk of change. Do you want to run the risk that Cam's going to win a ton of competitions, and then Cam's going to go to the end with someone who he is sure he can beat? He's going
Yes.
to cut you. You're not even going to get the second prize money. Like, to go through 100 days of this season and then to not only lose to this guy, but also be cut by this guy, it would be so painful, especially knowing that, like, Heisem, Riley, you had so many different opportunities to get him out of the game, and you just didn't do it.
Yep.
It is maddening. Now, speaking of maddening, I don't know if this is a hot take, but I feel like there is going to be a lot of flip-flopping over the next couple of days about Felicia and Nicole. Even if Felicia is just like, you know what, I'm putting it all out on Front Street and I'm just gonna burn every single person I could possibly think of. Like, I think there's gonna be a lot of debate. We've already seen Matt and Jag having these sort of debates of like, do we really get rid of Felicia or do we get rid of Nicole this week?
Yeah, for sure. And I think, it's fair to really debate that because Felicia has won something before. So, I mean, we've seen her as HOH. So she might be somebody, she feels like somebody that if you're really loyal to her, she will be very loyal to you. She will call out people who are backstabbing you or need to go or that are problems. Yes. But at the same time, if she's loyal to you, it feels like she's loyal to you. So she is somebody that feels like she could be a really good ally as long as she's not, burning the world to the ground.
that's that's sort of the thing. Felicia has value in the game. Like she has
Yes.
shown that she can be loyal. She's not going to be great in the more physical competitions. Like she has won in HOH, and I mean,
Yes.
we can sit here and be like, okay, was it luck? Was it skill? It's you,
Doesn't matter.
yeah.
A win is a win.
A win is a win, and she does have a really good case if she makes it to the end because she is so much older than everybody else. She's got a really good story, but I would think a lot about this if I was in the house because I just think Nicole is really smart. I think she's really rational. I could see her winning some endurance competitions, like something like that. I think she hasn't won anything really yet, but she's been close. I would think a lot about it. And if I was somebody that Nicole hasn't always been that great socially with everybody, I would I would consider. And if I was certain people, I would probably prefer that Nicole left, but I don't know if I would like stick my neck out in order to make something happen and put a target on my back for it.
Yeah, I'm not, this feels like a move where not that many people are going to stick their neck out for that.
Yeah, it's a really big risk. And I will at least say this, despite Felicia going full Felicia at the veto ceremony, Corey after the fact was just kind of like, you know what, I kind of respect it. I respect the Corey, you're at least a good sport. And that's what I'll say about Corey, Felicia, and some other people is that I know there are worries about bitter jurors. I think Cam, one of the reasons he went after Felicia in the first place is he thought she would be like some really bitter juror on the other side of this. But I think there's a lot of people who are at least eager to play the game or respect the game to a certain degree. And I am going to be really bummed if Felicia leaves this week and we do not have Felicia on the jury because she would be fantastic.
She absolutely would be.
I'm not trying to slight Nicole here. It's just like I would rather see Felicia on the jury than Nicole. Like I think Nicole is a better actual player, but if I'm talking in terms of entertainment, Felicia is always the answer.
Absolutely.
All right, we will see where the rest of this week takes us. There is going to be a lot more flip-flopping. There's going to be a lot more nonsense. That's always assumed with this show.
Mhm.
But all right, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. We have a lot more coming on Big Brother 25 all season, and thank you so much to our patrons for your support. We really appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
And we will see you guys here next time.